Anita was born in a small town in Nigeria. From birth, she had a condition that affected her right leg, leaving her with a limp that never went away. She never knew what it felt like to run barefoot on the playground, or to join her classmates in a game of football. But what she lacked in mobility, she made up for in brilliance. Anita was sharp, top of her class. She asked questions others were afraid to ask. She read books twice her level. She dreamed big, even if life kept trying to shrink her. But not everyone liked that. Especially Tunde, the class clown, the bully in disguise. To him, Anita wasn't just different, she was a target. Every morning, as Anita walked into class with her metal crutch tapping against the tiled floor, he would shout, "Make way! It's Madam Left Leg Slow Motion." The class would explode in laughter. Even those who didn't find it funny laughed. Just to fit in. Anita never responded. She just found her corner at the back of the room and quietly opened her books. But sometimes she'd blink too long because the tears burned behind her eyes. She refused to cry out loud. Not for them. A teacher once looked up from his desk, saw it happening, and turned his eyes back to the register. That moment told her everything. No one was coming to save her. So she saved herself. With silence. With survival. With stubborn dreams. But what none of them knew was, the same girl they mocked today would one day sign their paychecks after school while other students were driven home in air-conditioned cars. Anita walked. One foot dragged. One crutch clicked against the dusty roadside. The journey was long, and sometimes the sun felt like punishment. But she never complained. Not once. She lived in a one-room zinc-roofed house at the edge of the village. No running water. No generator. Her guardian was her grandmother, Mama Nkechi. A soft-spoken woman with tired eyes and hands hardened by years of selling akara at the roadside. They didn't have much. Some nights, they shared one plate of food. Some nights, they shared silence. But Mama always prayed. God, give Anita the strength to do what we couldn't. On bad days, Anita's leg swelled. The pain made her cry into her pillow, biting her tongue so her grandmother wouldn't hear. But still. The next morning, she'd wrap the leg in hot cloth, grip her crutch tighter, and walk to school. At night, while other kids were asleep, Anita studied. No desk. Just a plastic chair and a cracked table. Her light? A small, dying candle. And sometimes, just the moon sneaking through the window. She read with one hand holding her notes and the other wiping her tears. Because pain doesn't stop just because you have dreams. She knew that. But she also knew this. I will not always be small. I will not always be silent. She said it to herself over and over. Every night. Like a prayer. Like a promise. And in that room, under the leaky roof, a queen was being formed. Not in comfort, but in fire. While Anita's life was forged in hardship, Tunde floated through life like a feather in the breeze. He was the kind of boy who entered the classroom like he owned it. Backpack slung carelessly over one shoulder. AirPods in, always grinning. His parents weren't billionaires, but they had just enough. A decent car, a nice compound, and every new gadget the moment it dropped. He never lacked, and maybe that's why he never tried. Tunde wasn't the smartest in class, not even close. But he had jokes. He had charm. He had a loud laugh that made teachers roll their eyes. And a smooth tongue that could talk his way out of any punishment. When results came in, he simply shrugged. NA exam I no read for, why I go vex. But his popularity? Untouchable. Birthday parties at fancy lounges. Front row at school talent shows. Girls giggling whenever he winked. And wherever he walked, a circle of followers trailed behind. Laughing at his jokes, cheering his pranks, and joining his mockery of others. Especially Anita. Tunde gave her the nickname that stuck like a curse. Crutch Queen. He said it loud. Made everyone laugh. And every time she limped past, they whispered it like it was her name. He never thought twice. Never thought life could flip. Never imagined that comfort could crumble. Because Tunde was used to ease. He was used to applause. But after graduation? The world wasn't clapping anymore. After graduation, life did what it always does. It separated the loud from the determined. Tunde expected the world to hand him success. Just like school had handed him popularity. He applied for jobs, but his results were average. His interview answers? Worse. He laughed too much, bragged too loud, and couldn't take feedback. For the first time in his life, charm wasn't enough. So he bounced from one job to another. Customer service today, dismissed tomorrow. No one clapped anymore. Meanwhile, Anita disappeared from the radar. Rumor had it she got a scholarship. Not just any scholarship. A full ride to study abroad, in Canada. Few believed it at first. How could Crutch Queen make it that far? But she did. While Tunde chased shortcuts, Anita built staircases. She studied harder than ever. Worked 2 campus jobs. And started coding on borrowed laptops late into the night. Even on bad pain days, when her legs ached. She told herself, I will not always be small. I will not always be silent. Years passed. Tunde stayed in the same place, stuck, searching. Anita? She rose. Quietly. Powerfully. And one day, their worlds collided. Tunde adjusted his shirt nervously as he walked into the modern office building. After years of failed interviews, this job felt like a real shot. He smiled at the receptionist, cracked a joke. Still using charm like it was currency. Please head to the conference room. The director will see you shortly. He stepped in, still rehearsing answers in his head. And froze. Behind the desk sat a woman in an elegant blazer. Confident, composed, and undeniably powerful. She turned slowly. Tunde's heart dropped. It was Anita. Her crutch was gone. Her presence? Unshakable. There was a pause. Tunde stammered, Anita. She smiled. Calm. Sharp. Yes, Mr. Tunde. Please, have a seat. He dropped into the chair. Sweating. She opened his file, scanned it with a blank expression. I see you're applying for the product manager role. Interesting. He nodded fast. Yes, Ma. I'm very passionate about growth and team success. Anita looked up. Do you remember what you used to call me in school? Silence. Tunde swallowed hard. Anita? I was young. Foolish. She leaned forward. And I was broken. But I survived. A long pause. Her voice softened. I don't hold grudges, Mr. Tunde. Life already taught you the lesson I never could. She closed the file. You won't be a good fit for this role. But I wish you well. He stood up, ashamed, nodding quickly. Thank you, Ma. As he walked away, shoulders slumped. Anita whispered to herself. I will not always be small. I will not always be silent. And for the first time in years, she smiled. Not from revenge, but from the peace of rising above. As Tunde exited the building, the weight of his past followed him. Anita stood by the window of her office, watching the same boy who once mocked her, now walking away defeated, not by her, but by life. She didn't smile in triumph. She smiled because she won. Not the job, not revenge, but her freedom. She had turned pain into purpose. Mockery into motivation. And brokenness into brilliance. Years of humiliation now just echoes in her victory. Anita later started a scholarship fund in her name for young girls living with disabilities. She didn't want revenge. She wanted change. And her story became a beacon of hope to anyone who's ever been laughed at, bullied, or underestimated. Your story isn't over. They may laugh now, but one day, they might just have to call you boss. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like and subscribe, as it will help grow this channel.